My friends, the great experiment.
Down on the lower decks.
Hidden trick.
Would you look at that?
The greatest trick.
And you people, you're all astronauts on some kind of Star Trek.
The greatest trick.
Welcome to Greatest Trek. It's a new Star Trek podcast from the makers of The Greatest Generation. I'm Adam Pranica.
I'm Ben Harrison.
I have a special message to FODs out there. Many of them have reached out.
About this very special episode.
Wanting to know about how my colonoscopy quest went.
Right. A fissure quest of your own.
Yeah. The procedure went fine. Magically fine, even.
Wow.
I have not been under heavy anesthetic for maybe a decade, so there was like some mystery about what would happen.
Yeah.
Especially with your experience being kind of a rocky one. I was kind of prepared for...
That's one way to put it.
You go into any situation hoping for the Adam and preparing for the Ben.
Right.
And that's what this situation was to me. But I just blinked. It was a weird kind of time travel.
Yeah.
Time travel.
Kind of unsettling as a form of time travel.
That was what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I had big plans. You know, the deprivation ahead of time makes you feel like, man, like, let's go out and fucking get Five Guys or something, you know? Like, let's really do it up.
Oh, buddy. I had the exact opposite inclination. I was like, I feel so clean and fast. Like, I felt like all I wanted to do was drink broth, like, for 2 meals a day. I wanted to, like, keep it tight forever. But
you liked the precedent that had been set.
I did. I really did. And, they filled up an empty egg carton full of polyps, and they sent those on to a lab. Mm-hmm. And now I'm just playing phone tag with the lab guy about what happened. It's really great to get non-specific voicemail messages from a medical provider being like, hey, call us back. And then when you call back, they're like an automated recording of, our call volume is too high to answer your call. We'll get back to you when we can. And it's been like 4 days.
Oh, man. You don't want somebody to just be sitting on those polyps without telling you what's going on with them.
I've been sitting on the polyps.
Yeah, those are yours to sit on.
My time is done. For that's someone else's problem. So a bunch of FODs wrote to me, and they were like, hey, really concerned about that ass. Mm-hmm. Send us pictures if you can.
I got no such contact from the FODs, by the way. So, noted.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you from me to them for your concern. So far feeling great.
Okay, good.
I just might prep every month.
Just make it a regular...
Love the prep!
Regular part of your thing?
Let's compare prep stories, because I know the procedure is not comparable.
Right.
And the aftermath not comparable.
Because I got clean bill of health. You got, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe nothing, maybe everything.
I got carton of polyps over here. I found the prep, I was expecting bad prep. I was expecting like chained to a bathroom prep. I was kind of bored by the prep.
Really?
I expected absolute fireworks, and I was like, well, this isn't too far out of the ordinary for me, even.
Is that because of your kind of ongoing, I mean, like... I was visiting the darkness and you were born there kind of a thing?
I have very fast motility. I'm like a small animal in that way. So
good for you.
So there was a rapidity to the passing of things that felt indistinguishable to me.
Yeah, it was not a great time for me. I didn't care for it too much. Did you? So I've heard that there's different prep drinks now, and some is like there's quite a large volume of the drink that you got to do, and other people get a lesser volume.
Well, I requested and was granted the pill version of prep. So I had no drink. No drink besides the drink that I chose to.
I wonder if that's part of it. I
mean, I will say, you take 12 pretty big pills. And you're directed to take them with 1 sip of water each pill for like 20 minutes.
Okay.
And that's not fun because these aren't coated pills. These are like,
Yeah.
these are fucking giant aspirin or
They're
something.
powdery boys.
Yeah. Yeah. Powder boys that you're supposed to take with water specifically. And that's even less fun than it could be.
I did do the drink.
You were a powder boy in college though, right?
I was a powder boy in college.
I can't feel my face.
Yeah, I had the drink. I
Could you choose the flavor?
No, it's just whatever. It was like lemon-esque or something.
Lemon-esque sounds like the store brand fizzy lemonade that you get.
Yeah. And
President's Choice lemon-esque.
yeah, I think that's kind of the flavor profile they were going for.
But was it bad or was it just fine?
I know that there are people that like really suffer through that, and it wasn't that bothered me so much as the just relentless, needing to go back and poop and like feeling I needed to go poop and like being too empty but still feeling like I needed to go.
I'm sure you feel very close to me now.
Things you like to talk about on people's nice Friday morning drive to work or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
So many like Starbucks egg bites have been put down back into the cup holder over the course of the opening of this episode.
I think we're doing important work. I think we need to reveal that this sort of preventative care isn't that bad.
Unless you're me.
It's endurable and important,
Yeah.
and it's worth doing.
It is. It certainly is. I'd rather not have a half egg carton full of polyps.
Sure.
I know that I don't have a half egg carton full of polyps.
Exactly. The knowledge of it, so important.
But also important to take care of the health of your galaxy. There's some prevention in today's episode, so that you don't have to do the cure, which may be worse than the disease.
Yeah, it sure sounds like it.
It's season 5, episode 9 of Lower Decks, Fissure Quest.
You know the greatest danger facing us is an irrational fear of the unknown.
Oh, what did you guys do with your toothpicks?
We start the show where we ended the last show, in the booth in the Cerritos mess hall. And this is not a place, I would argue, to make repairs to your face while you're sitting with your friends. This kind of feels like Rutherford is clipping his nails in front of his friends at the booth.
Hey, come on, you're sparking my Raptagino.
Sorry.
It's not even that he's like feeding an important animal in doing so. It's, it's a bit mindless. He wants to tie the Oculus into the ship's systems, which he claims normally works just great, but it is now resulting in beams shooting danger close to Boimler's now fully grown-in beard.
Yeah, flying toenails don't have the potential to kill like this does. This really feels like a close call.
I am honestly surprised to see this beard converge with Prime Universe Boimler's in terms of how fully grown in it was. I was really expecting them to go in the direction of it's like an asymptote that constantly approaches that beard but never actually touches it.
He did it!
He did it.
He did it. He looks great.
You can always get napkins from this place. There's plenty of them.
Yeah. He looks better than anyone I've ever known who had a purple beard. He can actually rock it.
Yeah. Do you think that they could make that look as good in real life as they do in the cartoon?
I mean, some people can just rock the stubble.
Yeah.
And others are me. What did you make of Boimler's relative comfort with almost dying in this scene? Because this is also a moment kind of grounded in the idea of like, yeah, Boimler had a double and that double is dead. And so he might have a unique relationship to death or double death as it is. And yet he kind of shrugs off this almost getting shot in the face moment in a way that felt like real growth for him.
Yeah, I mean, like, we'll get Boimler screams in this episode, to be sure, but this is not where they come from.
No.
He is evolved for more than just sensing the coming of death.
Right.
We're talking about this idea of alternate Boimlers, and we zoom past him, out the window, fly through space and into some colorful clouds, and then into another quantum reality where a Defiant class ship is plying outer space. And who's inside that ship, Adam? T'Pol and Boimler.
This is the Anaximander, a completely ridiculous name for a starship, I think. Is this the name of an animal, to your knowledge?
Anaximander is, according to my brief Googling, a pre-Socratic Greek philosopher.
How about that?
Yeah, a cryptic name for a cryptic ship. It is heavily implied that this is a Section 31 outfit.
Sure.
That we learn has been put into the capable hands of William Boimler, the transporter alternate whose death was faked.
That's true.
So that he could stop whoever is trying to destroy the multiverse. William
Boimler's vibe up top is like Chris Pine's Kirk in Star Trek Beyond, a guy who recognizes the importance of what they're doing, but no longer feels, the vim or the vigor of the work involved. He's just kind of bored of all of this, kind of over it.
Just going through the motions of hunting fissures.
Yeah.
I mean, you remember the first time you saw a fissure right there with your own eyes and how exciting that was? Imagine getting to a point where it's just like, oh, it's another fucking fissure.
Tell me about that.
I mean, that's just what Boimler seems to be going through. I'm still delighted every time.
Okay, that's good. I just wanted to be clear. We're definitely a pro-fissure podcast, pro-gratitude for fissures podcast, especially.
I stand by that entirely. But this Boimler, for all of his T'Pols and Curzon Daxes that he gets to work with, is feeling a little ground down by the monotony of this hunt. And we also learned that he works with Elim Garak and a emergency medical hologram based on Bashir, and that those two are married. They run Sickbay together as a couple.
Which is something that suggests that emergency medical holograms can be married, much like the Doctor from Voyager, I think, was on his way toward.
Yeah. So there was a universe in which Zimmerman did complete the 2.0 version based on Bashir.
Right. Yeah.
And then there's another universe in which Elim Garak was not a tailor, but a surgeon. I mean, it's like, what's the difference, right? It's all just cutting and sewing.
I mean, that's what the folksy surgeon in the small town will tell you, right?
Yeah, and that's what DS9 was supposed to be, right? Like frontier medicine.
Yeah. The ship detects a Starfleet escape pod ahead, and they beam aboard its only occupant.
Thanks for the save. I thought I was a goner.
What a surprise. Another Harry Kim.
Something about it reminds me of being in the womb. Get up, Harry.
Who are you?
We're just happy to be in Starfleet.
Parents must be very proud.
I'm Harry Kim.
Who are you?
Harry Kim.
You're all still ensigns? How have none of you ever been promoted?
Who are you?
Harry Kim. I lasted 22 minutes. And your mom? Very proud. Harry Kim.
Who are you?
Harry Kim.
This Kim's got 2 pips! Huh?
It is going to be very easy for this Harry Kim to integrate himself with the rest of the crew because they're all Harry Kims. And at this point, Ben, I've got to ask you, with the rapidity of the introductions of beloved past Star Trek characters, as delighted as I was to experience a show that was like bringing all these people back, it kind of kept me focused on who else is going to show up for the rest of the episode. You know, they dump out the character toy box in the first 5 minutes, and I'm thinking scene to scene, like, who's next?
Right.
Especially because Boimler himself is saying, like, I'm sick of all of the derivative characters, all the kit bash characters that I run into. He says that so often that I'm like, okay, well, march him out.
I think that because of Kim Crew, I didn't go that direction. I was like, like the bit of it's just going to be a bunch of Kims was like so delightful to me.
Yeah.
I laughed out loud in this reveal, even though I like sort of felt it coming a little bit because I was like, why are all the people in the back of the bridge in shadow? Like there's going to be a reveal with that.
Would you have rathered to not have seen this reveal in the preview for the season?
I did not watch the preview for the season, so it was totally fresh to me.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I saw the preview, so I knew this was coming at some point. It hit a little less hard.
This is my job. I should watch the previews, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Very hard to counsel a co-CEO about what exactly the job is. But I don't know. The preview. Some people are preview people. You've met my friend Dave.
Yeah.
Dave goes to movies in the theater and like gets into the fetal position and covers his eyes and pokes thumbs into his ears.
Yeah.
To not have trailers spoil future movie opportunities for him.
Yeah.
You're not like that. Are you? You're like not trailer averse?
I've had parts of my life where I was really trailer averse, and I think I've really lightened up on that because I think trailers are like a very funny artifact of culture. I like them as just like their own little weird artistic expression of a thing.
Do you feel like your relationship to them changed? Because they used to be one of my favorite parts of going to a movie. Mm-hmm. I used to, like back when YouTube just started, like I used to go search for trailers.
Yeah.
For movies that I was really interested in.
It used to be like a big part of the Apple.com website to demonstrate the capabilities of QuickTime was that they had all the new movie trailers. And I would go like sit in the computer lab at lunch and like check out the new trailers for movies.
I mean, what happened? Are they not as special? When they stopped using the Forrest Gump song from the end of that trailer, like, is that when trailers went bad?
Yeah, the In a World guy passing away.
God, he took the whole thing with him, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean,
damn.
They all just seem to be like a parody of each other now. Like for every one Inception trailer that's like a pretty new idea, you get like 5,000 Inception knockoff trailers.
You know, I think you're speaking to something that I completely agree with, which is like the problem isn't the trailers, it's the movie that they're trailering.
Yeah.
The series of movies that we've gotten. How often can you see a trailer that's like... it's the end of the universe, and this group of superheroes is our only chance.
Yeah, it's hard to resell the same story in an interesting new way.
Yeah.
And like, I don't think that I like avoided the trailer for this per se to like not spoil it for myself. I just, I was like, I'm going to watch that. Like, I don't need to like soak in every piece of advertisements for it. Anyways, we get a new intro flair, which is that a Tholian web has been added. I sort of wondered if they like knew at this point, like show's ending, might as well throw a couple more bits of nonsense into the opening credits.
I had always thought the Tholian web was there.
Oh, was that not new?
Yeah, I've been seeing it. I've been seeing it for at least the last 4 or 5 episodes.
No kidding.
I don't know if it started, and part of it is the early edition of the episode-ness of this experience, but I'm almost positive that we've been seeing that.
Okay. Well, I feel like a fucking idiot.
The greatest trick
is yet to come.
Kim is not an idiot. Kim is our proxy for the episode, and he's getting the lowdown on the deal with these rifts, and Boimler tells him that what's happening here is there's a ship going between dimensions, and in so doing, the ship is kind of tearing them open. Yeah. And that's a problem. Even though there are infinite amounts of these quantum realities, if you tear too many of them, the burbles are all going to spill out into a soapy quantum mess.
Oh man, that just sounds like a fucking nightmare.
Why is soap the hardest thing to clean up?
It's strange.
That's the name of my memoir.
I'm sure that will be very popular, Adam. I like that the number of Harry Kims that these people have had to explain this to is part of what underlines why Boimler is so over this as a thing. He is sick and tired of these remixes and these hack, reimaginations of beloved characters. He does not want to deal with this shit at all, but it is his lot in life.
And because this is often about perspective, Boimler's presumption is that the ship that is doing this intends to do this damage and is thus the enemy that they're chasing. And of course, the captain of this ship is going to be some thinly sketched version of someone that they already know. And that's going to be boring.
Yeah, it's going to be a real disappointment. Did you have any guesses at this point in the episode? Were you thinking in any particular directions?
I really wasn't. I was ready to be surprised by the big reveal.
Yeah.
And the big reveal really surprised me.
They did a nice job with that. So this Kim goes and meets up with a bunch of the other many Harry's Kim aboard the vessel.
Is Harry Skims the athleisure wear or the like what is that called? I don't want to use the wrong word, but like the Spanx style garment.
Like a support garment.
Yeah, that's the Starfleet support garment is Harry Skims. Right?
Oh yeah. I mean, we were going to try and put that in podshop.biz, but I'm pretty sure that another podcast gets those.
Yeah, you pay more for shipping than you do for the item.
Yeah. So the other Harrys are very delighted to learn that this guy is from a universe where Voyager made it back to the A-Quad. But then they notice something pretty scandalous on his shirt collar. Is that a corn kernel that landed there, Adam?
I love corn.
This is worth freaking out about. A Harry Kim that has been promoted. Incredible. After encountering... How many Kims are we talking about here, do you think are stationed on this ship? Dozens? 2 dozen Kims?
Seems like a couple of dozen Kims, yeah, at least.
It seems statistically far-fetched that they would all be one-pippers, and yet here we are.
It's a problem that plagues universes, and he is from a pretty special one that deigned to see him as not even just a lieutenant junior grade, but a full-blown lieutenant. He comes from the universe in which career advancement is available to the character, and that is of great interest to them.
Yeah.
We cut over to Garak and Bashir. They start a little spat here that kind of runs through the rest of the episode, which is, when this is all over, which quantum reality are they going to return to? Because Garak is like, oh yeah, like there's a really good masseur on the promenade in my universe, and that is of no use to Hollow Bashir.
I will say, at least they've constrained their choices to 2 of them. Just imagine if you were going house hunting across the quantum universe and how difficult it would be to arrive at a decision that you would agree with your wife about. Forget it. It would never happen. At least they're just choosing between 2, I guess.
I have some friends that are redoing their house right now, and they told me that they were driving to Irvine to go look at tile. And
they were never seen again.
I said to my friend, it was nice knowing you.
Hey, listen, I'm not your emergency contact if you go to Irvine.
Yeah, I have been walking around for weeks thinking about how lucky I feel not to be going to Irvine to look at tile at any given moment.
I drive through Irvine to visit my parents' house, and lordy. I don't want to disparage anyone who lives in Irvine, but wow, Irvine.
This is
incredible.
Perfect time in the episode to announce our next live show with the Greatest Generation will be coming to the Irvine Spectrum.
Yeah. A 8,500 seat, totally bookable calendar. So on the bridge, this rift that they're parked near is almost repaired when a Previa-class shuttle comes out of it and they beam aboard its inhabitant. It kind of seems like this is what happens when you hang out near a fissure. Stuff just gets ejected out of it at you. This happened twice now. Yeah. This time they beam aboard Mariner, and she is wearing a yellow uniform.
This is Engineer Mariner. And they got her out right before it blew up. Boy, is Boimler happy to see her. This is a break in the monotony that he was really dying for, because what he had expected was just another Harry Kim. And what he got was a dear friend. And like, I was trying to think of when the Boimler schism happened. It was like end of season 2, beginning of season 3, right?
It was way back there. Yeah.
Yes, or was it end of season 1? I feel like this is a version.
I can't hear you over all the buzzing. Give it a couple seconds and then come back.
Okay. Does it die down? Okay. What I was going to say is I just feel like their relationship is so much less mature with this version of Boimler.
Great point.
But he misses her all the same, like is really happy to see a familiar face.
You are right to comment on the maturity of their friendship, because when I saw Boimler embrace her the way that he did, it suggested to me that maybe his Mariner is dead, because it seemed not the sort of moment that's saved for like long lost friends, but like friends who have passed, and through this weird quantum reality, like you're just so relieved and happy to see someone in that way. That's what I suspected.
Well, in a sense, she is dead to him, right? Like if his death has been faked and he's jumped into Section 31, he probably can't go.
When you're dead, so is everyone else.
Yeah. Wow.
Second one.
Yeah. We're blowing minds and blowing assholes on today's Greatest Trek.
Amazing.
So yeah, they talk in the lunchroom about the transporter clone situation. She's heard of this kind of shit. Her universe's counselor Troy went through a Tom Riker.
Is there something meaningful about the ramen?
I don't know.
Everyone's eating ramen in the mess hall.
Yeah, it looked good.
I used to eat ramen fairly often when I worked a corporate job. And it just put me into the ground in the afternoon. Like all the salt bomb just got me.
Yeah.
Made me very unproductive in the afternoon.
I mean, far be it for me as co-CEO of Uxbridge Shimoda Corporation to tell anyone how to behave. But I'm glad that you've laid off that, We need you in the afternoons over here.
It's so good. It's so good.
Sodium is not a full life.
Maybe it is for me, damn it!
So one big difference between Yellow Mariner, God, can I call her that? Yikes.
I think we could call her Mustard Mariner.
I like that. I like that a lot. So one big difference between Mustard Mariner and the Mariner we know is that this Mariner is super danger reverse. In kind of a weird way.
Yeah.
I'd rather be tinkering with plasma coils.
Mariner Prime, I would not describe in that way at all. This Mariner, just a true blue engineer, and it is a delight to be around this Mariner, I would say. She seems very with it, not stressful.
Somewhat less of a delight is Lieutenant Kim, who, I mean, I wonder if you interpreted this as the Kim who is seeing his counterparts as there but for the grace of God kind of characters. Like, he's a little horrified by the fact that none of them have been promoted, and almost seems to be placing the blame for that on them.
It's an interesting glimpse into what could be considered like the core personality of all Kims. That there would be this tension, because I think you could also argue that there could be something quite comfortable with the idea of like all versions of yourself have a vanishing point that is more or less the same.
There's not a wildly more successful version of Ben Harrison out there, for example.
Right. And so like if you're putting in so much effort to become something that you aren't, on the quantum level, just imagine kind of the relief of that, like knowing that, like, what am I doing? Yeah. That part of the Harry Kim experience never expressed in this episode. That's just something that I'm projecting onto him. But like, it's got to be tough too, to just sort of be your own audience. Like, new Kim is holding court in front of a dozen other Kims, and you're sort of forced to confront that difference with them.
It has a little bit of like first day in the lunchroom at prison energy to it also.
Like if Lieutenant Kim made an example of Ensign Kim, one of the ensigns Kim.
You got to beat the shit out of the toughest Ensign Kim you see on the first day, or you're going to be suffering your entire time there.
He was stating the obvious again.
Great job with the show in like drawing a bunch of distinct Kims, but I was kind of looking for the buff Kim, weren't you?
Yeah. Or a Kim with a big old body that's big beyond belief. I got a big old body.
Stop moving around.
Absolutely. Yeah. We don't get any of that.
That's a universe, you know?
Yes.
They were cleaning up a thing from another universe when that happened, right?
One of my favorite parts of this entire show was that.
Hey,
Cheaters don't deserve Nausicaan Latinum. And you people, you're all astronauts on some kind of Star Trek.
The greatest Trek.
So we also get a little glimpse at T'Pol and Curzon having their ramen. T'Pol would like Curzon to be more careful with his Dax symbiont, what with there not being any other candidates for the joining aboard the ship. They need to be really careful with the Dax symbiont so that when this is all over, that wealth of knowledge and maybe one murderer can be returned safely to Trill.
There's something so sturdy and familiar about T'Pol's decision to sit with someone with whom she doesn't always agree and sometimes can have an antagonistic relationship with. Like, this has been my experience with her on Enterprise, on our hit mainline Star Trek show, Greatest Generation. Like, especially in the mess hall, it does not matter who she's sitting with. It doesn't matter who sits with her. It doesn't matter who she sits with. Doesn't affect her at all.
She'd be fine alone. She is unperturbed by a dickhead like Archer sitting next to her. It's fine. It's all fine.
Just think of how careful you were about choosing who to sit with in middle school, especially in the lunchroom. Holy moly. That moment would haunt me.
Yeah. We didn't really have a lunchroom in my middle school. I guess we just ate outside or whatever. I remember in high school being like the only correct choice when you go into the dining hall is empty table and see who comes to you. Like it didn't feel like I could ever step to a table, you know?
That's an exciting kind of philosophy. And in a way, like unusually confident for a middle school Benjamin R. Harrison of my imagination. Like, yeah, come sit with me.
Yeah. It usually went okay. Like I didn't I didn't have a billion friends in high school, but I wasn't like hard up or anything.
I always sat with the same people. It was like fucking Cheers up in the lunchroom for me.
I've never had that, and I sort of regret it, honestly. Like turning your lunchroom into a third place is a cool energy.
I went to an extremely large middle school and high school, though. I think that probably made the difference. There were 2,000 people.
Yeah. I mean, my middle school was 30 kids to a class and my high school was 70 kids to a class. So you just knew every single person on campus and it was a different thing. Anyways, Mustard Mariner has learned that radial tachyons in the rift are what caused her ship to explode. And she's like, well, because those are in there, now we can figure out who's been creating the rifts. And this is the first time Captain Boimler has had any kind of a lead on what they're trying to do. So she puts up a presentation that shows what it looks like for ships to create and uncreate rifts between universes. And these radial tachyons are described as being evidence that somebody is making a rift somewhere else. And these rifts we're experiencing are like a side effect of that. So we can create our own rift and then like force them to come through that one somehow is basically the upshot. We can get them right here, right now, whenever we want.
The restraint of this show to visually depict a bunch of spherical objects and then other objects going through them and between them and not ever evoke the imagery of boobs or ass. Yeah. Like, that is not what this is for. Mm-hmm. That's not this presentation. Amazing.
I don't think there's been a single titty fucking joke in the entire history of Lower Decks.
No. They're above that.
Amazing. Imagine being above that.
Yeah. When they learn this, they understand that they can open up a sort of trap rift of their own. And through that trap rift, the ship that they're chasing would fall right into it, right in front of them. And from there, they'd be able to catch it.
And so they do it. They pump some beams into space, and they open their own rift. And this ship comes through, and it's like one of those vertical hula hoop looking deals. They take a shot at it, and they hit it, and it's like Curzon is like very surprised that the ship does not have shields, and yet it makes its own new rift, and they have to chase them into that.
Yeah, it really kicks off a chase scene here. And the Anaximander
Ankylosaur
is damaged. We've got an injured Harry Kim that gets taken to sickbay. I want to talk about something that happens in this interstitial scene in sickbay, because not a lot happens. It's just like, oh, here's a Harry Kim. We're going to fix him up. He's got blood on his head. There is an effect in this room, a visual effect, that I thought is maybe top 3 in the entire show.
Wow.
Because it appears as though there's a skylight in this department, and they're parked right next to a fissure, and the fissure is casting this weird glow.
Right.
But this glow comes through the skylight and through the sort of like particulate dust that any room is going to have. I just thought it was so beautiful for a throwaway scene in a moment that this show does all the time. Like, beauty in the throwaway scene is almost a specialty for this show.
Go ahead and make it look as great as it possibly can.
I bet this scene looks fine without that. Like, someone really cared enough to do it.
They enter the second rift, and Curzon kind of overrides a command from Boims and fires a second shot at the other vessel.
What is wrong with this guy?
I don't know. He's a fucking hothead is what he is.
It's almost as if you can't trust anyone from Section 31.
Man, how different would it be to rewatch Deep Space Nine now and think about Jadzia as potentially having memories of Section 31 while Sisko is being like fucked with by Section 31 over and over again?
Time for a rewatch, Ben. That's what I'll say.
So the ship they're chasing has to emergency land on a planet, and they land as well to do some repairs and chase the inhabitants of that ship.
It's a bog planet. It's a bug planet.
An axolotl planet.
You remember these guys, right? The Quapians? This is a callback to the very first bog planet episode.
Yeah. They're supposed to be super chill and nice, and yet they are not. And everybody gets taken prisoner to a Quapian, like a rusty Quapian prison facility.
There's something so upsetting about a cattle prod as a weapon, and that's what these Quapians have. Especially when you're standing in water. Ugh.
It seems like a poor choice for a weapon for an amphibious species.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows I don't know fuck all about electricity, but even I know this looks like a dangerous situation.
Like, wouldn't bog water be like an excellent conductor? Maybe there's something dissolved in it that makes it not, but
maybe.
Anyways, in prison, the Harry Kims, much to their chagrin, do not get locked up with the people with a greater number of pips than them. And all of the commanders and heavyweights in the other cell realize that they have been locked up with the inhabitants of the other ship, captained by Lily from Star Trek First Contact.
Blow up the damn ship!
Amazing.
A third one?
Mind totally blown here. Wow. Wow.
Wow.
Wow.
So cool. Lily doesn't know that her ship has been damaging the quantum realities. That's an important thing to note here. They have been cruising through the realities, doing their missions, not really aware of the damage they've caused. And in her reality, Lily did not create a warp ship with Zephram Cochrane. Together they created a quantum reality drive.
Yeah.
And one thing that is consistent between the realities, Zephram Cochrane did it for money and women.
You sound a lot like Zeph.
I'm going to retire to a naked reality full of money.
Money reality. Women reality.
Man, is there a reality where Zephyr Cochrane is like a bikini babe?
God, yeah. Absolutely infinite possibilities for Zephyr Cochrane, as long as his main interests are money, women.
That's Zephyr Cochrane.
So yeah, this has been a huge fuck up by them. It kind of reminded me a little bit of that TNG episode where they realized that warp drive is destroying the fabric of the universe.
Yeah, you don't know you're the bad guy until you get that perspective shift.
But it also reminded me of like most other episodes in this season where it was like, oh, like we kind of misjudged those guys, and it wasn't that they were trying to be bad, it was that they were just trying to do normal shit, and it was a misunderstanding.
Would you look at that?
Boims kind of gets a little lippy with one of the guards and is getting Boimler shocked.
Your planet sucks!
Elam Garrick has come into the prison to liberate the hostages in classic Garrick style. He's a little bit more than a mere surgeon, but he is still plain simple Garrick.
I mean, you could argue he does some back surgery to this Quapian.
Yeah.
Is it a backleth he uses in that moment?
This Quapian's going to have to go see that Bolian on the promenade after this.
No. So they're out of prison here, and their plan at this point is to repair Lily's ship so they can repair the damage that they've done in going in between all the quantum fissures. So together, the two crews hustle back to repairing the Beagle, which is the name of this ship.
Yeah.
The Beagle.
The Beagle. There's an interesting conversation here between Boimler and Lily where he's like, God, you're exploring the multiverse on purpose? What the fuck is wrong with you? And she's like, it's so cool. You get to see like all of human potential expressed in every possible way. And he's like, no, man, it's all about like strange new worlds. And, you know, an interesting difference of opinion that they go take down the hall. And we realize that Lieutenant Kim has been creepily listening to their conversation.
Yeah. We learn in this conversation between Lily and Boimler that it's not just that Boimler feels like his own job is bad and boring. He also feels like Lily's is too. Like he projects that onto her in a way that makes her have to defend it. I thought that was an unusual conflict between them. Like it's not just that he has an issue with his own shit. He has an issue with hers too. And so it was really like, it was nice to hear Lily give voice to why she does it. That to someone who isn't familiar with her mission, it may just seem as though they're bouncing around quantum realities, running into the boring versions of people they already know. But it's like, no, that's not, you're not studying outside, you're studying inside.
Yeah.
The human potential.
Sliders does have a lot of potential as a premise.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's kind of launching into a pretty stirring monologue about the reality transcending power of friendship as evidenced by Mustard Mariner and Boimler getting along so great, when suddenly the Beagle just takes off. And, you know, Mariner is almost like that guy like hanging off the landing tread of a helicopter that hangs on a little too long.
Yeah, that's big fun.
Up it goes and away it goes. And they're like, shit, we got to go back to the Anaximander and chase it. So everybody that was left on the ground, which just so happens to be all the not Harry Kims of the ship, run back to the Anaximander. Curzon kind of single-handedly batleth fights all of the axolotls that are trying to stop them from escaping.
Calm down. Everybody's going to get their asses kicked. Curzon, be careful.
They board, and Boimler gets on FaceTime with Lieutenant Harry. And it becomes clear that Lieutenant Harry Kim is like sort of kidnapping all of the other Harrys. They don't seem to be going willingly.
We don't want to be here. I'm taking you back to my universe where Harry Kims can rank up.
Yeah, he should have gotten buy-in before taking the Beagle, don't you think?
There's a lot more Harry Kims than there are Harry Kim. You know?
Well put. I mean, could you blame him for making an assumption about how he would feel about his decision in a moment like this? I think he kind of sped through the idea of like, if this is all me, of course they agree with me.
Yeah.
But they don't.
And crucially, he was listening to that part of Lily's story about like all of the like wonderful human potential that you get to experience doing what she does. So yeah, anyways, the Anaximander gives chase. Curzon returns to the bridge, a little bit worse for wear after his fight. And they go to orbit, and Lily is kind of meanwhile explaining that if the Beagle, in its current state of disrepair, attempts to open a rift, it could not just destroy this universe, but all universes everywhere.
Oh man, this is like the movie preview right now. Holy shit. It's not big enough to destroy this universe. We got to destroy every universe. That's the danger. What do we do? I mean, first they got to catch up with this thing, Ben. That's the problem. They're not closing the distance at all. But Mariner's got an idea about tweaking the engines to make them go faster, and her plan is to like change the gravity near the warp core. Like by increasing the mass of the ship, you can make it go faster. This is what I understand this scene to be.
Yeah. She turns the gravity way up. She's having a tough time hitting the button she needs to hit, but Hollow Bashir, not affected by gravity, smashes that like and subscribe, and they go to warp and arrive just in time to see the rift getting opened by this other ship. It turns out Curzon was very badly gored by one of the Quapians, so he goes down to sickbay, and Garrick is like, sorry, if only you brought me this man sooner, I might have been able to do more. But he and Hollow Bashir are able to squash the beef in this moment and, decide that their love is more important than which specific universe they return to. But it's probably going to be a moot anyways, right? These universes are getting cooked as we speak.
Yeah, it's easy to come to an agreement when everyone's going to die. And it's not going to matter anyway.
Then why have we been arguing? Because it's fun. No, it's not!
One interesting situation is like, what's going to happen to Curzon's symbiont, right?
Right.
Like there is some discussion about, well, if Curzon dies, we don't really have a viable container for that guy, right? What are we going to do?
T'Pol is there.
Yeah.
And much to Curzon's surprise, T'Pol is his friend. And she's like, it's okay, I got you. I will download your Katra, and that will contain all of the stuff in the Dax symbiont, and I'll take it with me. Like, I can't have your symbiont in my belly, but I can have your symbiont's soul in my brain.
Let's run this out all the way to its conclusion. So the Dax symbiont dies within Curzon's body, but the Katra is contained within T'Pol's brain. Is T'Pol's plan to put that back into a different symbiont for implantation, or is her plan to put her hands onto the face of another person and transfer it like that? And if that's what happens, there would be no further transference of the Dax symbiont because there's no symbiont to transfer from body to body. Like once that host dies, that's it, right?
Yeah, because in Star Trek 3: The Search for Spock, like they had a blank, basically. Like they had a Spock whose personality basically didn't exist to map old Spock's personality back over.
How many blanks do we have around?
Yeah. Can they clone symbionts?
Do we have a blank tank? Full of symbionts?
All I know is it is a pretty threadbare Star Trek fantasy to be lying on a bed next to T'Pol and have her tell you that your Katra was a lot more than she bargained for.
Yeah.
When you pulled it out.
Yeah, she took on the whole thing. Good for her.
Good for you, good for you.
On the Beagle, the not lieutenants are going mutinous against their captor. He beams them back over to the Anaximander. And he won't listen to reason. He's like, fuck you, I'm leaving. I'm going through this hole. And it explodes and gets real like red and angry and irritated looking. It's like jutting destructive energy forces into this reality. And they're kind of panicking on the bridge. And Lily's like, there's like one thing we can do, which is to like shoot a beam at it that forces all of this bad energy into one specific reality. It will destroy that reality, but it will save all of the other ones.
How glad were you that no one said needs of the many or a version of that? Instead, by action, they conveyed that message.
Yeah. Yeah, they didn't need to.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
I thought that was a good choice.
We just need a sacrificial reality to take this on.
And Boimler volunteers his own reality.
Easy for him to do.
Yeah, I mean, there's got to be a reality that's nothing but Kim's, right? There's like everybody's Harry Kim reality.
Punish the Harry Kim reality.
That seems like
punish the Harry Kim as a great big body. That's big beyond belief reality. It's just a universe with one enormous Harry Kim.
Yeah. That feels like more on brand for this Boimler.
Yeah.
But because he trusts our heroes, the Lower Deckers, he sends it to his own reality. He thinks that they can get this solved, and he piggybacks a message to his counterpart, Bradward Boimler, to figure this out. They'll take care of business as long as Bradward Boimler doesn't panic when he gets the message.
What do you think's going to happen?
Smash cuts to Boimler scream.
Holy we're all gonna die!
And a to be continued.
Yeah.
So the final episode of Star Trek Lower Decks will be the conclusion to this story.
I wonder if they expended all of their fun stunt cameo casting on this episode, or if there's going to be a whole bunch more in the next one as well.
You know, Ben, I'm a gambling man.
All I do is
bets.
No matter what.
I personally believe that there will be. There has to be.
Okay.
Did you like this episode, though?
She'll always bring it home.
I did. I thought it was a very exciting episode, but I also just thought it was really funny. I think Garrett Wang in particular really got how to play this Harry Kim, these Harry's Kim. I had a bunch of laugh out loud moments at the way he just delivered lines and showed up in scenes. So
yeah, he was good.
I feel like a little bit sad that we haven't had that much time with Rutherford and Tendi this season.
It does feel like we're not spending a lot of time with primary cast.
Yeah. But overall, a really exciting and fun story. So yeah, I thought it was kind of a high point for the season so far.
Yeah.
How about you?
I'd agree with that. I agree with what you said about Garrett Wang. Totally blown away that Alfre Woodard participated. Andrew Robinson and Alexander Siddig also came as a surprise to me, even though like they kind of play in the Star Trek convention space. Like they haven't self-ostracized from that by any means. That was a surprise, but the biggest surprise of all was Jolene Blalock, someone who really has not appeared in that space for decades and who really didn't have to do this. Like, this is one thing I wanted to talk about briefly. She didn't have to do this. She's never had to do anything because she married extremely rich. She's married to the Live Nation CEO, Michael Rapino.
Whoa.
This guy is worth as close to $1 billion as a non-billionaire can be. And you know, I don't believe there should be billionaires. All billionaires are bad. I can't say that about Michael Rapino. He's not a billionaire. Oh, he just missed it. Oh, that's too bad.
I think just shy of billionaires are very funny.
Yeah. Recently, I read his total compensation from Live Nation is $140 million, which is many orders of magnitude. 831 times the median employee pay at Live Nation for the year.
Boo.
Live Nation, a company that has worked extremely hard to make concert experiences more expensive for everyone involved and less profitable for the artists who perform them.
Yeah.
And I say all of this to reaffirm that Jolene Blalock did not have to do this. She did it for the love of it. And I think that says a lot about her.
Yeah.
And it's something that I really, really appreciate. Like, she showed up and did a great job on a comedy show about Star Trek. And I thought that was cool as hell. So, yeah, good job by her.
Yeah, good for her. Well, do you want to see if there's anything in the Priority One inbox, Adam?
Oh, yeah. A place where working extremely hard to make a financially reasonable place for people to hang out.
Yeah. Like, for example, by not having the cost of it track with inflation ever.
Right.
Priority 1 message from Starfleet coming in on secured channel.
Ben, we've got a Priority 1 message here from Philip. It's to Michelle. Here's that message. Happy 26th anniversary.
Wow.
Our endless stream of in-jokes and Tamarian-like references make our kids groan. That's spelled Groan, right?
It's not growing your kids up prematurely.
Yeah. But they are part of the glue that binds us. I'm so happy you've become an FOD with me, and we have so much old and new Star Trek to look forward to. Here's to the finest marriage in Starfleet, and 26 more years of references and being together.
Wow. Congrats, you two.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
What a milestone.
26. What anniversary is that? That's the taking separate vacations anniversary, I think, for a lot of people.
Not for these two.
Yeah, great. Hey, relationship goals for Philip and Michelle. Nice job by you guys.
Our next Priority 1 message here is from Dave. It's to Ben and Adam, and it goes like this. Last season of LDX, I saved up a few eps of TGK to watch during. The thing about tattoos is you have to say as still as possible for the artist to do their best work. Unfortunately, this show is too good at distracting me from being stabbed hundreds of times a second for hours, and I was laughing so much I had to turn it off. Please be less funny.
How about no?
Please be less funny. Get the hell out of here, Dave.
I mean,
well, why don't you go listen to something else during?
It's something I strive for, personally. But I've never been tattooed, but the idea of like your body shuddering in a way that like throws your tattoo artist off and you hear the like, uh-oh. Sounds bad.
That's what you never want to hear from a tattoo artist.
Yeah, or a doctor.
Well, we love hearing from FODs in the Priority 1 inbox. You can write a message for us to read at MaximumFun.org/Jumbotron. It's a great way to support all the work we do at Expert Shimoda.
We sure appreciate it.
Hey, Ben.
What's that, Adam?
Did you find yourself an Edward Larkin?
Edward Larkin! I'm going to give it to Garrett Wang today. He just really made me laugh on this episode, and I thought he was great in an episode with so many fun voices. It was really fun to see him get to be like kind of the big co-star of the episode and do a lot of fun, silly stuff. And really, like, take the comedy to another level in his performance.
Pretty great. Ben, mine's going to be Garrick, and it's for one very specific moment. When he says he's not one for face-to-face combat, that's a gay joke, right?
Oh.
I just thought that was, that got a big laugh out of me as someone who just took an enemy down from behind and then says that in the aftermath. I just thought that was very funny.
Yeah, it was good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah. Nice to see them finally get hitched, you know?
Yeah. I don't know that I could be married to a hollow.
Yeah.
I think there's something about being attached to someone with whom, like, you're both gonna die, and that makes things even. Like, I couldn't be married to someone who's gonna live forever. That just seems unfair.
That's like what Trip Tucker signed up for in the relationship with T'Pol of this episode as well.
I know. Yeah, pretty wild. Well, last bit of business we got to do before we get out of here is share a warning buoy.
Prepare a buoy and launch it when ready.
Warning buoys.
An emergency buoy. A warning buoy.
Of course, these are the opportunities FODs take in sharing how much they love the show far and wide on their social media platform of choice. They get Bill Tilley's attention, and then Bill Tilley gets our attention. And here's what I want to share. This is the end of the year, and what we're getting are a lot of Spotify summaries for people sharing their top podcasts.
Yeah, we're never going to get in a like top podcasts of the year list, but we can get in a Spotify Wrapped or whatever of the end of the year list from a listener.
And what's happened here is we're appearing in a lot of these. And if you follow us on any social media platform, you will have seen dozens and dozens of posts of our shows being people's top podcasts. And it just feels great to see. So if we rank highly for you, go ahead and share what your top podcasts are. Don't share with us if we're not your top podcast. Go ahead and just maybe share when we are. And then we'll get the word out from there far and wide. But it's been really neat to see just how many minutes FODs have been spending with us over the course of the year. Pretty fun.
Lot of minutes. Thank you to everyone listening. We're going to leave the episode in Wynde's capable hands from here, and she'll tell you a little bit about what we got coming up next week. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
Greatest Trek is an Uxbridge Shimoda podcast on the Maximum Fun Network. It's hosted by Ben Harrison and Adam Pranica, and it's produced and edited by Wynde Priddy. Next week, Ben and Adam will be back to cover the series and season finale of Lower Deck Season 5. It's called The New Next Generation. A big thank you to all the Max Fun members who support this show financially. They are the ones making sure it's possible for us to put out episodes week after week. So if you've got it and you want to support the work we're doing here, it is quick and easy to set up a membership, and you'll get instant access to a ton of great bonus content. The place to do it is MaximumFun.org/join, and we really appreciate your support. Thank you to Nick Dittmore, who created the show art, and Adam Ragusia, who composed the theme music. Thank you to Rob Adler and Bill Tilley for their work on the @GreatestTrek social media pages. Follow those accounts and use the hashtag #GreatestTrek when you post about the show online. We're also on YouTube, so make sure you're subscribed over there, and merch is available at podshop.biz. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week on Greatest Trek.
Maximum Fun,
a worker-owned network
of artist-owned shows,
supported
directly
by you.